What's going on? Yeah, more aspects of this, the curse markers, man, of Deuteronomy and uh, what is it, man? Numbers, uh, and these first books of the Bible, and more thinking about the Indians here in America and how they fit into this whole equation. Even I've heard, like, listen, Indian understanding, from what I know of it. But then again, I don't travel out there in big circles with a lot, and I met a lot of Indians in recent years to bounce ideas around with. But I've met some over my lifetime, and there's stuff on the internet. There's TV shows about it. I've read books on it. You know what I'm saying? And I've met weird people in different states. You know what I'm saying? Had conversations about it, like people you wouldn't expect. Like this Puerto Rican guy was telling me how that they're related to the Indians here in North America, and it's crazy too. The Constitution. There's I seen this, like, this document of one of the founders. He was saying how that they could just model the United States off a near perfect union to the north. And he was talking about the Iroquois, I think, nations. But then, we also had over here in the Great Lakes region in the Mississippi Valley and down the Mississippi and over into Wisconsin and Minnesota and all that. You had, it's like, I think the dude, he described it as Algics. Algics means the language is derived from Algonquin, but it doesn't. It means they speak language that's related to Algonquin. You know what I'm saying? And that's exactly how this guy says you can trace who's related to who is by, one is language, two, customs, traditions. And in America also, I see that the Indians suffer from the same curse of people from the Bible, that how they were taught astrotheology and incorporated it, like it'd be like it varied from place to place, house to house, and who knew who was closer to the other nations who've had other uh, religions and belief systems, customs, traditions, faiths. And there's sometimes where people kind of mix the faiths from multiple schools of thought. And then people that didn't know any better would assume that just because this one person from this tribe practiced this double religion or hybrid religion, that it was the whole tribe's religion. But yet, still to admit that, yeah, it's there to some extent, because I've heard some Indian stories where they use these terminologies like Father Sky, Mother Earth, Grandmother Moon. And if you really look at that, that's identical to medieval alchemy. So it's alchemy's a form of astrotheology as well, dude. And you had the French over there. There's your medieval connection to this. Where maybe in translation from Indian to European, then back to Indian, then to English, the translation of these things lost their true meanings and gained many meanings and many interpretations, and over time they're totally lost. And that is one of the curses of mixing your religion, or adopting customs from other people that are foreign to the tribe that had the pure religion. You know what I mean? So that's where a lot of this comes in, and you can see that for sure in the Indian culture, even now, even worse, because for one, they had to extinguish it and then redefine it and suppress it. It's just really crazy, man. When you really look at this stuff. But for instance, you can look at like for non-related tribe like the Pueblos. They had geoglyphs and astrotheological monuments designed to the stars. And who else had that? They're not far away from the Mayans. That's where that stuff comes from, is the Mayans. And you can find the Cree Indians from Georgia. They used to trade with the Mayans. So, and it's like, and they also built like a pyramid on the side of a hill. It wasn't, it was, but it was like, I think they're called terraces. In a way, it was a monument, but it also acted as like a way to, like a garden. Like in the Bible, what it would be called is a high place or a grove. You know what I'm saying? These are ancient traditions, man, and practices. They've always been around, and it's just because someone practiced that, it doesn't mean that they're not a lost. If you're an Israelite and you're practicing that stuff, you're a lost. That means you're lost right there, because you're not practicing what you were, your father's father, the earthly fathers. You got to go back to the beginning and see that there's two different systems of following things, and that is what the Bible or Abraham, it's worshiping the creation over the creator. You know what I'm saying? But then, you also see how the Indians knew of the Great Spirit. And even in Numbers also, they called God, once again, the Lord of the Spirits. And it's like that's what the Indians call God, the Great Spirit. It means the same thing, the Father of all spirits, man. The Father of all creation, heaven, earth. But the definitions got switched into, it's the Father sky. Just like, look, the white people, your churchianity, they used to portray God as this guy in the sky with big white hair. That's no different from what they said the Indians believed, but it's not totally true. And in some cases it is true, but not all Indians were of the same family, same tradition, same language, same customs, same faith. And people just got to acknowledge that and accept it. It's like, look, the guy that wrote the History of the Ojibwe people said there's like probably 5 different families of migration, but over a long period of living on the continent, they all started to take on the same attributes, and that makes sense. Why does, at one time in Africa they were all really black. It's because of the continent and living in that land for that long. You take on attributes of the land, the sun in its relation to the land, and that's where over time people take on the ethnic looks. You know what I mean? It's real crazy, man. Because I don't know if what I was saying there about the medieval alchemy and the sun and the moon and the stars. The Bible says this: don't swear by the sun, the moon, and the stars, or nothing, no other thing on the earth or in heaven. So we're not supposed to. If you swear by it, you must be you're idolizing it. I swear by the moon. Well, that means you're elevating the moon. Or like, I swear on anything, you're elevating it. You don't even really swear to God. You can. There's a time and a place where you can swear an oath to God. But if you swear it to him, he makes you fulfill it. You know what I mean? It's like, really, you got to keep your word. And it's written of in there. And that's what taking God's name in vain is saying you're going to do something in a ceremonial fashion and a vow. It's actually impossible to not fulfill it. It's like, in a way, you'll be doomed to fulfill what you need to do. It's weird. It's what it sounds like to me. But once again, these curses and being in captivity be taken away and displaced. The Africans definitely suffer that with the ships coming across. And also, Moses was married to an Ethiopian. I mean, come on, dude. Uh, maybe if Moses was a white dude, he probably had a black wife. So that would explain why you got so many different colored, kids or whatever around the world. I don't know, man. Uh, it's just and just like the dude who said he was a Jew, and he sees Paul right after Paul has his conversion, and the dude gets baptized, and he said he's a Jew, and it said he was from Ethiopia. And you go look at what people from Ethiopia look like. I mean, Solomon and didn't he have a wife from Ethiopia too? I mean, just you look at that. Ethiopia's on the edge of Africa, below Egypt. You got Egypt. I mean, everything up here from over this way, from Israel and Jerusalem and all that, it gets real yellow, man. You know what I mean? You go south of it, it gets real black. You go north, it's north and what would it be? West, and it gets real white. And then you get over here, and it was red at that time. You know what I mean? And then you go, just like over there in the Middle East, you go to the Mayan world. They were almost the same. They were similar in color and complexion to those over in Egypt. And you see the Egyptian cocaine mummy. I mean, and the cocaine comes from a place down in South America where they have pyramids, and they got them over in Egypt. I mean, it's like they're not telling us something. They are hiding something about history that is just so obvious, but you can't quite put your finger on it. And here's the thing too. The canoe, there's a story about the Indians here fighting with the Iroquois, and it said that the Iroquois had birch canoes that you can use and travel on land with. You can carry them, but they had their home canoes, which are made out of timber, and they were sturdy. And they said they caught these guys slipping and tipped their canoes and basically drowned them, and let a couple of them flee and go home and tell them not to come back. I mean, and you could see how, listen, there's the West Coast, people who came down the coast of the West Coast of Canada and the U.S., but our people says for some reason we came in from Canada from the east and worked our way in towards the Great Lakes region. That's what the book says, and it says we came from came from the sea, basically. So at some time, migration, and the Indians themselves don't really remember where they came from because they were looking back from hundreds of years. They could only remember 600 years since they've been here, and I mean that's all they could remember. And that was like in 1875 or something like that. That's crazy. People don't know that. So we weren't really, we were young here in the continent, at the whole scheme of things, and weren't really you could see how it was just real old school stuff, man, real ancient technology, but they were doing it. And it just shows you too, man. I'm telling you, man. That's another sign. It's like there's no alchemical metallurgy signs of that angel stuff, but other stuff. You could see. Maybe some of that leaked in there. Because you can see how the angel that taught man how to work roots and other things and do charms and stuff like that. And it seems like the Indians were aware of that stuff from, but not, I'm not saying just my tribe. I'm saying like Indians in general. There was, but you got to think, man, a lot of tribes had like a wife from this tribe over here. They didn't believe the same thing. And sometimes they would go hang out and have peace times where two tribes would hang out together for a season and then split away, and they would trade ideas. And over time, the true meanings of things got twisted and lost and intertwined.